What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. If you guys are looking for more exclusive content, check out our members only page so you can become a MBF bass head. You know, there's some cool features on there and really can help you guys catch some more bass. So check that out if you haven't already. We're talking about bass fishing in February today and some of my favorite baits to do that. It's hard to believe it's February. It feels a little weird being here in a t-shirt talking about fishing in February, but I got a new heater in the garage and man, it keeps it nice and warm in here. Comfortable. I can come out and work on tackle and not have to wear a hoodie or wear warm clothes. I can come out and be comfortable in the garage. So that's pretty cool add to the garage here. But like I said, we're going to go through some of my favorite baits for the month of February. So let's jump in and talk about a few baits. Okay, so February bass fishing, man, it can be a lot of fun. So the days are getting longer. You know, what is it? December 21st is the shortest day of the year. So as the days progress, each day gets longer and longer and longer. That sun is getting warmer. So the fish know it's time to start feeding. You know, maybe if you're up north, maybe you still have ice on your lake. So maybe this doesn't apply to you. But for the bulk of the country, the fish are getting ready to start feeding up, and they're getting ready to spawn here in the next, you know, probably 6 weeks. A lot of bass will be spawning around the country. So, you know, they're looking for a big, easy meal, and they put a lot of weight on in the month of February. So for me, there's a couple patterns or a couple things that produce tried and true every single year in the month of February. So the first up is going to be fishing grass. You know, a lot of fish like to kind of stage. They move from their wintering holes, kind of stage in grass, and then they're going to spawn in that shallower area pretty close to that grass. So they kind of stage in that grass and feed up. And you know, what better way to catch those fish than a lipless crankbait? So this is the Bill Lewis hammer trap. You know, typically you're going to have a little bit dirtier water in the month of February. You know, you got either, you know, snow melting or rain, and it kind of stirs the water up a little bit. So I like to go with a red color. This one's called Fire Crawl, but this is the 5/8 ounce size of the hammer trap. You know, the hammer trap's really loud, so you want a loud lipless bait, kind of triggers those fish from a long way away. But this is going to be for covering water, fishing those, you know, grass beds, grass flats, whatever it may be. And when you find that group of fish, you can sit the boat in one spot, throw back out there multiple times, and catch fish left and right with the lipless crankbait. So that's always got to be on your list. And next up, another bait that kind of does it all, but this will be my follow-up to the lipless crankbait, would be a chatterbait. So this is a shad colored chatterbait, but you can also mix in your crawfish colors. Just like the red rattle trap, you can mix in a red chatterbait, black and red chatterbait, an orange chatterbait, green pumpkin and red chatterbait, or a shad color. So this is actually a clear water shad jackhammer. This is a 1/2 ounce size. I got a 3-inch Yamamoto Seiko on there. So one thing, you know, I always like to use a smaller trailer, but definitely if you guys prefer throwing the 4-inch Seiko, you want to make sure that you downsize to the 3-inch Seiko early on in the season like this. You want a smaller profile bait. That way if a fish just kind of nips at it, you know, if he's not in the best mood, he just kind of nips at it, you got a smaller profile to get into that fish's mouth and hook him. So chatterbait's got to be on your list for February. Next up, we're going to be fishing a little bit differently. So, you know, the other pattern you could fish in the month of February is going to be kind of rock transition areas. And the number one choice for that is going to be a jerkbait. So this is a Bill Lewis scope stick jerkbait here. This is the 100 size. It's a little bit smaller. I really like this color. This is called Threadfin 2.0. Just kind of a very natural shad looking color. But what you're doing with this jerkbait is you're fishing kind of high percentage areas, bridges. You can even fish this over the grass, but typically, you know, this is more of a hard cover type bait. So I'm fishing this around rock, bridges, riprap, that kind of stuff. That's where I'm fishing the jerkbait in February. and it's going to help you catch a lot of fish. It's a bait that you could leave tied on all year long, but you got to have it in the month of February. You can't go wrong with a jerkbait anytime they're feeding in on bait fish. So that's one you got to have. Next up is going to be for fishing around that rock as well. This is going to be for more of those transition areas. And this is going to be a flat-sided crankbait. So I don't really have one particular bait that I prefer over the other. This is a frit side. This is a evergreen flat side crankbait, I believe, but all of them act pretty similar, to be honest. So the main thing about a flat side crankbait, I mean, obviously it's like the name suggests, the sides are very flat. It's a very thin bait. So it helps it have a very tight action. And it looks a lot like those shad in that colder water. You know, it's not very loud or obnoxious moving. It's very tight wiggling. Doesn't have a whole lot of crazy thump or vibration. It's a very subtle finesse crankbait, and they really enjoy that in they enjoy that. They really like eating the flat-sided crankbait in the colder water. It really excels in that colder water. So, you know, the frit side's a great one. You know, I got a whole box of flat-sided crankbaits, and that stays in the boat for sure the whole month of February. It's just a bait you can pick up, cover water. For me, I really like fishing this around, like I said, those rock transitions. So say you have a bluff wall, it comes to an end and kind of transitions into more gravel. That right there, that's going to be a prime place to start. And then you can kind of work up that shallower flat a little bit with the flat-sided crankbait. You know, these don't dive super deep, so you're looking at, you know, probably 5 foot or less with the flat side, but that right there, excellent option. Next up, you got to mention the jig head minnow. It doesn't matter what time of year, where you're going fishing, the jig head minnow always catches bass. But there's one bait in particular. I like to use a little bit bigger minnow in the month of February. You know, the previous year's shad has grown up a little bit, and they're a little bit bigger. And like I said, those fish are looking for a little bit bigger meal. So this is actually the 3.5 inch Yamamoto scope shad. So it's a little bit bigger than the typical 3 inch that I throw more so in the fall. So this is a little bit bigger profile. Imitates those, you know, those shad perfectly. So you're just rigging him up on a jig head, you know, using your live scope and chasing those fish around out suspended. You know, these fish could be anywhere in the lake in the month of February. So you're going out chasing them around and throwing a couple minnows. So these are probably my two favorite colors in the 3.5. You know, green gizzard's a color I use all the time, and then this one is stealth blue glimmer. So it's a very natural looking color with some blue glitter in there. But that's it, guys. That's 5 baits to try this February. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. Like I said before, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe. Leave me those likes, comments, good stuff down below, and we'll see you guys next time.